Welcome in to the 48 Minutes podcast on Believe. I'm Ross Geiger, the former NBA video coordinator, and I'm joined alongside Bruce Bernstein, our four-time Emmy Award winner who spent more than 3 decades at ESPN producing NBA shows, SportsCenter, and soaking up knowledge from the best hoop analysts in the business. Also joining us is the 2-time Emmy Award winner, Michael Worldby Freer, who's a senior writer at Stat Factor, specializing in writing advanced statistical NBA reports for various announcers across the league. This is episode number 173, the Dave Cowens episode, as the legendary Celtics center won the league's MVP honors in 1973. With the regular season set to begin on October 21st, we now begin our series of two-a-day shows. They'll be shorter, and we'll release 3 new shows each week leading up to opening night. Each show will feature one team from the East and one team from the West. Please note, we'll be going alphabetically, so no need to read anything into the order here. So let's get started with tonight's show with the Atlanta Hawks from the East and the Dallas Mavericks from the West. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks here, Bruce. Last year, the Hawks finished 40-42, which was good for 9th in the East. The year prior, they finished 10th, so they've really been the play-in players, as World B likes to say, as of lately here in the standings. But this year could be a different story for this year's Hawks. Bruce, what's your thoughts on Atlanta heading into the 2025-2026 season?
I mean, their front office had a great offseason, and I think they're poised for a really nice leap forward. I have them moving up to number 6, but I would not be shocked at all if they exceed those expectations. I mean, half of last year's roster is gone, and coming on board are Kristaps Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Luke Kennard, premier three-point shooter, and they joined Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, and Zachary Risachet to form a really nice mix of youth and experience with some solid defenders on the wings and 7'3" Porzingis guarding the paint.
Yeah. Worldby, what are your thoughts on this new and improved Hawks team?
Well, I think they had the best offseason of any team in the league, first of all. I think when you look at who they were able to acquire, and my favorite trade of all time to this point, the one with the Pelicans, where they traded down and picked up the Pelicans' first-round pick for next year. That was just I don't know if it was genius on the Hawks' part or ineptitude on the Pelicans' part, but either way, I love the deal from the Hawks' perspective. They have a chance. I think they have a chance to be really improved and among the contenders in this Eastern Conference this year. They just have to do a couple of things here. They got to get better defensively. They improved a little bit defensively, but they were still below average. I think they were 18th in defensive efficiency, and that's already been the last 4 seasons. It's not what's going to get it done for the team. And the other big deal with the Hawks is the Trae Young contract situation.
Yes.
He's has a player option after 26 for $49 million, but nothing after that. And I know it's weighing on. Reportedly, he's frustrated not to get a contract extension offer from the Hawks. So, I mean, they have a good thing going. They have a lot of good vibes. As Bruce mentioned, they have a lot of young guys. They acquired some really good pieces. But is this Trae Young thing going to be a problem? And by the way, I mentioned their defense needs to improve. Their defense is way better when Trae Young is off the court. So now how do you deal with that? You got to have them on the court for your offense, but you're not going to get any better defensively. So they're in a little bit of a conundrum as far as that goes. The quicker they can get that resolved one way or the other, I think the better chance they have going forward with him or without him, honestly.
Yeah, and I think that poses a great question here, World B, and that is the fact that you mentioned Trae Young and defense being the 2 major concerns for this team moving forward. So my question is this: do you think Trae Young is a winning player? Because at this point, I still feel like that's really kind of up in the air. He hasn't been able to really get this team over the hump in years past. So is this going to be kind of maybe his last chance and opportunity in Atlanta to show that he could be a winning player?
Oh, I thought that was being addressed to World.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, look. He seems to win a lot when he plays the Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
That's true.
Yes, and that's a team that they have to be able to beat in the East. So, I mean, look, Trae Young is flawed. I mean, he's really good offensively. He needs people to help him out to cover up some of his defensive things. But, one of the guys I'm really looking forward to watching the progress on this team is Onyeka Okongwu. Mm-hmm. He improved his scoring numbers every year of his career. I'm really going to be watching his progress this year. He's about to begin his 6th season, and he won't turn 25 until December. he averaged 13 and 9 in just 28 minutes a game last season. So, I mean, that's really good production. He's a 6'8", undersized guy, as I said, but he's somebody that I definitely have my eye on.
Yeah, it's a great guy to keep an eye on moving forward. He is a guy that can stretch the floor, even though he's a little undersized at the center position. He is a guy that can stretch the floor, play some 5-out basketball within that Atlanta Hawks offense. Now, overall, for me, I think that successful next season for the Hawks boils down to two things in particular. Number one being health, especially when it comes to Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis. And secondly is the amount of player development from within last year's roster. And my question with the development side of things is, can Dyson Daniels take another step forward offensively? Can Zachary Richer become a more consistent scorer next year, as he kind of showed in the later half of last season? And can Okongwu, as you mentioned, Bruce, can he provide more off the bench now that he's no longer competing for playing time with Clint Capella, who's obviously moved on to the Houston Rockets? So I think big opportunity lies ahead for a lot of these young guys on the team, Richer and Okongwu especially in this group. And I think if they are able to develop and take the next step in their career, it's only going to make the Hawks a more legitimate team out east.
I really liked their first-round draft pick, Asa Newell from Georgia. He's 6'11", and what I saw of him in the summer league, I really liked. It was a small sample, but I thought he had really soft hands. He can catch the ball. He can get his hands on rebounds. He can finish. I saw him use both hands down low. Maybe Okongwu was going to have to compete with him for some minutes too, although he's more of a forward than a center. And he's really young. He doesn't turn 20 till October. So I got my eyes on those two young bigs for the Hawks.
And by the way, one last thing on the Hawks here. I mentioned how they got improved defensively. It's been a struggle, whatever. Picking up Alexander Walker and KP, Kristaps Porzingis, both coming from strong defensive teams, that could have a really good impact on them defensively, considering where they're coming from, Minnesota and Boston, respectively. So they have a chance to improve defensively. It doesn't have to, I put it all on Trae Young. It doesn't have to all fall on him necessarily, considering who they picked up.
Great point there, World B. Now, next up, we'll talk about the Dallas Mavericks out west. Last year, the Mavericks finished 39-4-3, which landed them in that last and final play-in spot in the 10th position. Obviously, the Mavs are coming off one of the most wild seasons in recent memory with the shocking trade of Luka Doncic, and only to be followed up with the shocking luck they had landing the number 1 overall pick to secure Cooper Flagg this summer. So what do you think, World B? Do you think more good things lie ahead for Dallas this upcoming season?
I don't think it's going to be this season. I think they can be a little bit better than they're probably going to be projected. The loss of Kyrie Irving really hurts them. I don't see where they're going to pick up the offensive slack with Luka gone and now Kyrie. I know AD has a chance. The one thing I will say is, can Derek Lively and AD if they can be on the court together? There was a small sample size last season, just 54 minutes when they both played together on the court, but they were really good defenses. They held opponents under a point per possession when those two were on the court together. So that there's potential there to get some offense going, or at least certainly improve their defense. I want to see what AD does in the paint now. He did not do a whole lot in the paint after he got traded to the Mavericks. Again, small sample size, but he was really improved his play in the paint, became a real offensive force with the Lakers those last 3 seasons. And when he got to the Mavericks, he kind of drifted away, and that's not his forte. His shooting from mid-range is less than 40%. His shooting from three-point range is 30% for his career. He's got to be on the inside. Let's see if he does that, for a whole season when he gets, with the Mavericks.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye out on that. Bruce, what's your thoughts on the Mavs next season?
If Kyrie weren't on the shelf for a good chunk of the season, I'd actually feel like 50 wins in a tough Western Conference was a possibility. Imagine this lineup: Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, and Kyrie. Cooper Flagg may start off as maybe the 6th or 7th man, but he could soon challenge Washington for starter minutes at the 3. Maybe we'll see all of these guys later in the season. Kyrie maybe between January and March. Hopefully he's a quick healer from his ACL. And as for Washington, he missed 25 games last year, but he put up some really good numbers, almost 15 and 8, 38% from downtown. But I think Flagg may already be a better player than him. I mean, PJ got a nice deal, 4 years, $90 million. And while that makes him look like a cornerstone of the franchise, that new contract actually allows him to be traded during the season. So if Flagg develops quickly, that could be a big factor in where PJ Washington finishes the season.
Yeah, it seemed like he got rewarded this offseason, as you alluded to there, Bruce, but at the same time, it kind of provided the Mavericks front office some flexibility should they want to move on. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. I think there's no question with this Dallas Mavericks team. They've got tremendous size across the board. But with that said, their guard play without Kyrie remains a huge question mark and a concern heading into next season. And as great as Anthony Davis is and as good as Cooper Flagg potentially may be, are we sure we can count on productive seasons from both D'Angelo Russell and Klay Thompson? Because that is their starting backcourt. I don't know in the year 2025, 2026, if we can go ahead and count on that from both of those guys. And with this team, I'm curious to see where all the playmaking comes from. Hopefully, Kyrie Irving can come back, as you said, Bruce, around the new year and maybe January, February timeframe. But the playmaking on this team remains the biggest unknown to me, and that could be a huge cause for concern out west where, there are some loaded teams that can score the ball with the best of them. But, as World B said, they've got a good defense. So, maybe they'll be able to put something together here, but a lot remains a mystery at this time, and I think we just got to see what Cooper Flagg and company can do out of the gates.
I'll tell you what, we've been getting on D'Angelo Russell for years on our show. We always give him a hard time and everything, and justifiably. Let's be honest here. But as you mentioned, it's going to be a lot on his shoulders to be a playmaker, to create the offense. Because Klay Thompson, since he returned from his Achilles injury years ago, he has been basically a spot-up shooter. The percentage of his shots that are three-pointers has gone up dramatically each season since he returned. And last year was his highest ever. About 60% of his shots were threes. That's you figure in his career he has a reputation as being nothing but a shooter, long-range shooter. But that wasn't the case early in his career. It is now, and that's basically where he's at. He's a spot-up guy. It doesn't mean he can't be a 17, 18-minute game guy. But as you mentioned, they need to create offense from somewhere. And if it's not going to be D'Angelo Russell, maybe it is Cooper Flagg, who I'm expecting to be right in the starting lineup and become a playmaker of sorts. I mean, this is a guy, go to high school, he's exceeded expectations. His 1 year at Duke, he exceeded expectations. He goes to the Olympic training center there and works with Team USA, get ready for the Olympics 2 summers ago. He impresses there. So there's no reason to expect he won't be impressive in his rookie year, whether that means rookie of the year or not, who knows. But I expect him, every level, he's been exceptional. I expect it to continue at this level, maybe not all-star or anything like that in his first year, but he's going to be counted on big time. And if they struggle, he's just going to see the time on the court even more.
Yeah.
Look, I agree with all of that. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, he can shoot you into a game. He can shoot you out of a game. I mean, and he's the word for him is probably mercurial. But with AD and Lively and Gafford as the main bigs, I mean, they're going to be really tough defensively. I think they're going to be a good rebounding team. And one guy that I think, who's sort of an under the radar guy for their team, you guys, of course, know him, and Mavs fans do, Najee Marshall. I mean, he gives them some real toughness on the wing. He averaged a career high 13 with nearly 5 rebounds last season. Okay. And I think, a guy like that, again, if Klay Thompson isn't having a great night, I mean, Najee Marshall can hopefully play some additional minutes. And again, I really think that they'll be a good rebounding team. I think they'll be a good defensive team. But yeah, I mean, the playmaking is definitely going to be an issue. But if they can kind of keep their heads above water as the calendar flips over to 2026 and Kyrie's return, becomes more and more imminent, I think this team will probably peak later in the season. I don't think they're going to be playing their best ball before the new year. They'll be playing their best ball after the new year.
Yeah.
One thing too.
Most.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Will.
One thing too. Last season, when he played his final game with the Mavericks, right around Christmas or whatever, they had the fourth most efficient offense in the league. After he got traded, that went down to 23rd in offensive efficiency the rest of the way. They just couldn't generate, a lot of offense after he left. Naturally, you expect some drop off, but that's fallen into the bottom 10 after he is gone. So a lot of it has to do with AD wasn't healthy after he came here. You're missing Luka and everything. I get it. But they're going to have to generate offense from somewhere, and it's probably going to, as you mentioned, it's not going to be from the perimeter. It's going to probably be from the inside. 2 years ago, when they went to the finals, about 45% of their shots from the field were threes. They were one of the league leaders in that category. Last season, it dropped under 40%. I expect it to drop even more, especially with Luka gone, drop even more this season. I know D'Angelo Russell will take his fair share, but that's not as much as Luka did, and I don't see they're going to have a change in offensive philosophy. I think more inside the mid-range and in the paint.
Yeah. Before I wrap things up here, the guy I want to keep an eye out on the Dallas Mavericks is Jaden Hardy. He was the guy that I liked when he was drafted 2 years ago by the Dallas Mavericks. He showed a lot of spark and energy off that bench with the ability to get into the lane and score the basketball. I think last year, unfortunately, he took a step back for whatever reason, but there's ample opportunity for him to provide a spark this year. D'Angelo Russell's going to need some help, as we know. If D'Lo is 2 of 14 from the field at halftime, Jason Kidd's going to have to give a look to somebody else in that backcourt. And I think Jaden Hardy could be an interesting guy to keep an eye on for this team while Kyrie is sidelined. So that will wrap it up for our review of the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks. On our next 48 minutes to a day, we'll examine the Boston Celtics and Denver Nuggets. We hope you'll join us as we'll keep you up to date, but we'll go shorter than 48 as we hit every team. Take care, everyone.